Thank you, everyone, for
Mhm.
being here. So let's just take, as we arrive and transition from whatever we've been doing, let's just take a few deep, slow, grounding breaths as we enter this really urgent territory, but let's enter it with groundedness and presence. So, just again, as you know the practice so well, just feel and connect with your body. Feel the sensation of your body is touching your seat, your feet on the ground if you're in a chair. And take a slow, deep breath down through the body to the sensation into Pachamama, Mother Earth, Grandmother Earth. We are here being supported our every breath by her. And on an out breath, just softening where you're holding in the body, around the jaw, the shoulders, softening the belly. Let's just take a few moments, grounding, slowing down, arriving. As Konda offers a blessing for us as we begin our day together.
Hmm. Thank you, Thanissara. First of all, it's just such a honor and a pleasure to be in this space with you, and I just am very honored to be with all of you, and that all of you have arrived here in this space. This is a day, as Thanissara mentioned, a day of presence, of staying present, really staying within the body, welcoming the all of the emotions, being fully present with all the emotions. Everything is welcome. Everything is welcome. The pleasant and the unpleasant. And just staying with it, because with it is the joy we know and the sorrow of our planetary situation. And remembering that as we go through this day, that everything changes. Nothing is static. As big and impenetrable as things may seem, that is not the truth of reality. The truth of reality is that all things change. So everything has the propensity to change. What arises also goes away. And so with that is a sense of joy, and that we can be a part of that change. We will be a part of that change. And that it's an amazing time to be living here on this earth together at this time. During this crisis, we are here together. There's no more important place to be today than in this moment. So we both want to honor you for being here, standing up, sitting down for the earth, for our mother, for each other, for this planet, and all the beings that occupy and live together here. So we thank you and bless you in this beautiful time that we will have together today. Ashe.
So I'd like to invite again ceremonially to make an offering as we continue to open this space in a prayerful, connected way to earth, to the elements. I'd like to invite Lucy to join me in making this offering, just honoring the elements that we live with, that sustain and support our lives. And I'd like to begin with the air element, the breath, each breath. With each breath, just honoring this air element that sustains our life, honoring the water element, the liquidity that also sustains our life, honoring the earth element, this stone that also supports us and grounds us, and honoring the fire element. So I like this fire, the warmth and the heat of fire, and also representing the spark of consciousness, fifth element, space that we're in, sixth element. So while Lucy reads from beautiful prayer from Thai, from Thich Nhat Hanh, I'll be, on behalf of us all, offering these elements to the shrine behind us, behind me, sorry. Thank you. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you, Thanissara. Every time I step upon the earth, I will train myself to see that I am walking on you, my mother. With every step, I can touch the fact that you are not just beneath me, dear mother, but you are also within me. Walking in mindfulness, I will touch the truth that mind and body are not two separate entities. I will train myself to look deeply, to see your true nature. You are my loving mother, a living being, a great being, an immense, beautiful, and precious wonder. You are not only matter, you are also mind. You are also consciousness. Just as the beautiful pine or tender grain of corn possesses an innate sense of knowing, so too do you. How else can you give birth to so many thousands of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and saints? Within you, dear Mother Earth, there are the elements of earth, air, fire, water. Pausing, we can feel the solidity of the earth element at our feet in the contact with chair or cushion, noticing how this body is being supported. Air, sensing the movement of breath entering and leaving, or this voice carried by air is vibrating our eardrums. Fire, is there warmth, coolness? And water, maybe a sensation of moisture around the lips or tongue. This body over 50% water. Earth, air, fire, water, and there's also time, space, and consciousness. Our nature is your nature, which is also the nature of the cosmos. It is my deep wish to walk gently with steps of love and with great respect. Great Mother, you are always there with me and around me at every step, nourishing me, embracing me, and carrying me far into the future. But there are times when we have not done so well, times when we have not loved you enough, forgotten your true nature, when we have discriminated and treated you as something other than ourselves, times when we have exploited, wounded, and polluted you. We know that whenever one species develops too rapidly, exceeding its natural limit, there is great loss and damage, and the lives of other species are endangered. For equilibrium to be restored, causes and conditions naturally arise to bring about the destruction and annihilation of that species. Often these causes and conditions originate from within the destructive species itself. We have learned that when we perpetrate violence towards our own and other species, we are violent towards ourselves. Because of our ignorance and suffering, we have acted with cruelty, meanness, and violence. But we also have the ability with spiritual practice to be compassionate and helpful towards not only our own species, but other species, to become Buddhas, saints, and bodhisattvas. All humans, without exception, have this potential to become awakened beings able to protect you, our mother, and preserve your beauty. All phenomena are impermanent and ever-changing. Life over vast areas of the earth has already been destroyed more than 5 times, including 65 million years ago, when the impact of a giant asteroid caused the mass extinction of dinosaurs and 3/4 of all other species. Dear Mother, I am in awe of your capacity to be patient and creative despite all the harsh conditions you have endured. I promise to remember our extraordinary journey of eons and to live my days with the awareness that we are all your children and that we are all made of stars. I promise to do my part, contributing my own energy of joy and harmony to the glorious symphony of life. I will train myself to see the truth that I am you. I am the earth. And as I walk, I am walking not merely on matter, but on spirit.
Thank you so much, Lucy. It's so beautiful. Thank you for those words and for grounding us. So I would just like to also continue with opening into our theme, which is going beyond business as usual. I think we're all very aware from the recent IPCC report that came out with a code red for humanity, that we have no time to lose to enact radical change, which is not only on the surface, but has to address the deep systems that brought us to this catastrophe that we're now within. And so the shift from going along in the trance that we're all in, this trance that is driven by these systems, it's breaking that bubble. It's important to really break that bubble, which is really a strong part of our focus today, by naming truths, by having speakers that are really speaking to where we're at, and to really encourage us to make those shifts, to take courage collectively, en masse, which is what is needed now. And with this really core focus of going beyond business as usual. So, Konda, I'd love to hear some of your reflections. And then I just have a very small important piece to add at the end on, related to these systems that are controlling our lives and that we are participating in, that are driving mass extinction. So, Konda, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Thanissara. The IPCC report was Not that I didn't know it was coming, not that I was surprised, but it still had the impact of deep impact on me and a lot of other people, and it's when you and I talked about doing this together, Thanissara, we talked about business as usual and that we have to go beyond business as usual. And when I think of business as usual, it at the core of business as usual for me is this. It continues to support separation. It does not. The conversations often don't go to the core of the fact that separation is really at the core of things that have created these systems. We allow these systems. We have, first of all, we've been separated from. I love what you said, Lucy. And from Thai, that our mind and our bodies and our hearts are not separate. We have separated our minds and our hearts. We have separated from each other. We've separated from other species, and certainly we've separated ourselves from the planet Earth, from our Mother Earth. And the usual story about climate that we hear so often, it only tells part of the story. We think that the problem is carbon, you know? We think that that's the problem, where that is just a symptom of the problem. Underneath that is the problem of separation and disconnection and the worldview that we rely on, that has built institutions, that has built all the different the systems that are at play, And so business as usual is something that still bifurcates and separates, for example, social justice and climate. There's this tendency to have social justice, social issues over here, and climate over here, and they are absolutely not separate. Business as usual is not talking about economics and restorative economics and the solidarity economy in the same conversation as climate. And these are the kinds of things that the dots are not connecting so often. And we talk about carbon and we talk about, and yes, obviously we know the story of carbon, but we need to get underneath that. What are the social systems, the environmental systems, the institutional systems, the financial systems that are all at play, that are all needing to be regenerated, that have been created in a very extractive manner? And so what we want to do today, and the things that when you and I first talked to Nisra about doing this together, is that we need to paint the full picture. We need to connect the dots. We need to talk about things that's going to make us a little bit uncomfortable. It's already uncomfortable talking about climate. It's already a sense of discomfort, but it's a discomfort that we've become comfortably discomforted. We're kind of comfortable with this discomfort in some ways. There are other discomforts that we also need to talk about. And so I'm hoping that I know that we're going to get to some of these levels, because at the base is what we need more than anything is connection, connection, connection with ourselves, connection with our hearts and our minds, connection with each other, connection with the planet in very profound ways, because we are not alone. We're not going to do this alone. At our core, as human beings on this planet, at our core is the idea of being in community. We are communal beings. And so that is what we need. And so I'm hoping that today, at this beautiful day of so many truths being told, that we will find connection, and we'll find connection within ourselves and with each other. And we might absolutely find connection with actual people in the room and move forward. So that is what, when I think of business as usual, what we are going is beyond that business as usual, and talking hopefully painting a fuller picture of what's the causes and what's at stake. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Konda. For me, this central theme of the core of this separative consciousness that designates everything as other and outside, rather than understanding that everything is resident in this one awareness, and therefore everything is deeply intimate with us and to us, is that we've broken through this rise of the separative hierarchical mindset that stratifies every living thing in an order of hierarchy and worth, and according to the economic system we're in, which is, I would call now, really is not only predator capitalism, but it's cannibalistic capitalism. It's eating the host. Is actually an illusion, as we know in our Dharma practice. So breaking that illusion and dismantling and dethroning this centrality of false theology that places humans as the dominant species over everything else, and moves ourselves out of this sacred contract of being within the web of a living world. And the piece that really burns me in my heart, and there's so many pieces, is how this dominance has impacted the world of animals, and particularly those incarcerated across the globe, billions of animals in the vast network of industrialized animal so-called farming. And actually, this is one of the leading contributors also to the collapse of our living systems. So this is a very realizable, low-hanging fruit, if you like, in shifting from business as usual, is to actually shift out of our reliance and dependence upon the animal kingdom in ways that we no longer need to do. We no longer need to extract and exploit and abuse, and give over 45% of the use of land in and of itself to this really brutal system that brutalizes people involved and undermines and pollutes the environment. So this is I just really want to name this piece too, as we're talking at systemic levels, to look at this, what right do we have? What right do we have when we engage other life forms to dominate and extract? Well, how are we doing that? What consciousness are we doing that with, and what are the results of that? So with that, I'd like to introduce a very dear elder to us in our work. Thanissara and I spent over 20 years, 30 years actually, 25, I don't know, decades in Southern Africa, South Africa, where we founded a small retreat center and been deeply involved in a deep rural area in KwaZulu-Natal. And one of our elders and guides of our center, Damagiri, is Baba Mandaza Ndemwa from Zimbabwe, who is a holder of earth, water, and lion spirit, and is a man that speaks for earth, speaks for Mother Nature in a way that I found completely radical, in that he actually has a living, deep relationship with the spirit of Mother Earth and speaks her truth. So we'll listen to an interview that I did with Baba in Zimbabwe just before the COVID shutdown. And we haven't got Baba live at the moment, but you'll hear his wisdom come through in this piece that we've prepared for you. So thank you so much.